everybody. Welcome to Living the Line. I'm Carson Grubaugh, and we are back. Me and Hunter Delaney are back for a brand new Living the Line feature. Hopefully, this will be an ongoing feature. But Hunter's history of hardcore and the interview we had and everything made me think about the fact that there is a big relationship between music and comics, music and art. And we never talk about music on the channel. And I probably think about music just as much as I think about comics and love it just as much. So Hunter gave me the idea just through his book of actually bringing artists on and having them give us a song that we could listen to and react to and then talk about how it relates to their work in some way. So Hunter, thank you for the idea here. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, it's all you. It's not me. I just gave you the book. The rest is all you.
No, it's I would have never had it without the book. So we had to have Hunter be the first one because his book gave me the idea, and his book is about hardcore music, and we both share a love for heavy music in general, obviously. So we're gonna give this a try. We've never done this before. We don't know how it's gonna work, but we're gonna make it up on the fly. So Hunter, what are you bringing me today? What are we gonna be listening to?
So this is Avenged Sevenfold, The Art of Subconscious Illusion. It's from their first album, Sounding the Seventh Trumpet. And the reason why I think I like it so much is because, and I find it to be so cool, is because it's like a band at their beginning, and
Okay.
they're just putting it all out there, and there's like some lore behind it. So like some history within the greater history of the band, which I think is cool. And to tie it back to my book, right, gives it a little bit of a different edge than some of their other songs might have on the album.
Do you want to go into the lore before we listen to or after?
Uh, well, so I would say let's listen to it, and
Let's
then
listen to it. Okay.
yeah, I can drop my knowledge bomb after.
Okay. And I'll admit that Avenged Sevenfold is a band I've heard, I've listened to, but I don't have any of their albums. I know one of my favorite bands, Dream Theater, when their drummer, Mike Portnoy, left, their Avenged Sevenfold original drummer died in a car crash. Is that correct?
He died of uh, a heart issue
Okay.
uh, in 2013. No,
While.
would have been 2009, maybe.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but it was the singer of Suicide Silence is the one who passed away in a
Okay.
car accident, and they
Okay.
both lived in Huntington Beach.
Okay. And so he died, and then for a while, like my favorite drummer when I was a kid, Mike Portnoy, came and sat in for an album with them, I think, or at least toured with them for a while. So I've
Yeah,
listened to them in it like through that, oh, Portnoy's on there. Okay, I'm gonna go check them out a little more seriously now. But never all the way through. So I'm pretty excited to listen to uh give this a listen because I don't know exactly what it is. And I have, like I said, I have no idea how well this is going to work, but let's give it a go. So this is Avenged Sevenfold, The Art of Subconscious Illusion. We'll see if we get a copyright strike for this.
yeah.
You've been raped. You're crazy.
gonna stop it for a second. Just so like opens up really punk rock sounding, and then it
Yeah.
gets into stuff that I associate more hardcore, and then now with that riff that kick in, it's more metal to me.
Yeah, it's all over the place. It's like all of their influences combined into one. And they're like Orange County punk rock guys that knew that hardcore was popular. And also eventually like at the same time they were interested in like sort of like hair metal, more Guns N' Roses style music.
Hmm.
And that's just like all of those things combining into one. And it's just like insane. Like the drumming is nuts. Like
Yeah, he's good.
there's no metronome on this whole recording, the whole
Oh,
album. There's no
okay.
metronome, if I remember correctly. So they're all playing to Jimmy, the drummer.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just bananas.
Jimmy the Rev.
Yeah. That was his like Motley Crue name or whatever.
Yeah. See, I always associated them more with like the hair metal stuff, that they were like the metalcore air of that or something was always what I thought. But yeah, this is interesting because it's early, so it's like more raw.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to it. Got like the melding.
There's a shot my shade. This is my victim's body. This is my victim's body. But I cannot take their soul.
That talking thing they're doing, I associate that with hardcore. Is that accurate?
Yeah. And it's like to me it's a little bit more of that like theatrical side, like the early metalcore.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess this wouldn't
Oh,
necessarily be
okay.
called like metalcore, but that like sort of like makeup, eyeliner style of metalcore, the sort of dramatic, over the top, uh, like theatrical stuff we were talking about. That's where I think that comes from a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but this is where I'll drop that knowledge bomb. So the
Okay.
voice, you heard like a second singer come in, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
There's like a really low growl. There's a really high, like more black metal shrieky
yeah,
vocal, and then there's someone singing.
yeah. So the like black metally shrieking, that's actually Matt, the singer, his girlfriend at the time, who's now his wife.
Okay.
Um, she was their tour manager, was their merch person, pretty much their gopher. And during tours, while they were on this album cycle, they would she would ditch the merch table, come up, sing this part every show, and go back. And what's interesting about it is she is the only other person ever featured on an Avenged Sevenfold album that isn't uh like Mike Portnoy or like because Mike Portnoy is not like doing any vocal performance for any of the
Yeah.
albums. Their next drummer, Aaron Eleje, he's not on any vocal performance. She is the only person to ever like other than Matt, the singer, be featured on any kind of vocal track that wasn't somebody else in the band.
So
And
they've never had any like guest duets
no,
or what about
no.
other like guitar players coming in and no.
Well, I guess yeah, they do have Brian, he goes by Sinister Gates. His dad is a like a studio musician and
Okay.
he's on a lot of the albums, but like
Okay.
you're not ever hearing his singing featured prominently. Like
Yeah.
if he's singing at all, which I don't believe he is, he's mostly just doing like guitar playing.
Okay. So then we'll get back to it. But yeah, that talking is something that was a big part of a lot of the stuff I was listening to. They take those breaks where they kind of and that was part of the Christian thing too, is like at the shows they would have like the message and everyone would come up and like pray and weep
Yeah.
and like convert at the shows, but they would kind of do that talking to spread the message. Okay, let's go back on that a little bit.
But cannot take their soul. Punching each other, stabbing and not killing. Disappointment.
Oh, and noise at the end.
Yeah.
The rain. Everyone had the rain. That's another standard feature of a lot of the stuff I remember from that time.
Yeah.
So we covered the lore, and you were can you place that a little bit more? You were saying this is their kind of their early stuff, bringing all their influences before they kind of hit their mature sound.
Yeah, so this is their first album, and what's crazy is they're 17 years old when they're writing
Mm,
this and
yeah.
recording this in Matt's parents' garage. And like imagine, I guess it's just like what I think is interesting is uh like this album immediately basically got them a deal with Warner Brothers. Like they were on
Hmm.
Hopeless. And then they got a like a what 3 or 4 record deal with Warner Brothers. Like that's not heard of. And they heard this and I got them their manager and like it changed everything for them. And every song, like there's so much to it. And but there's at every point in the song, I feel like there's a moment where you like are like, oh, this part's awesome. And then it turns into another, oh, this part's awesome too. And like it like is almost like there's something for everybody in each of their songs, like even if it's just a moment. Um, and it just gets better and better. And yeah, that like I mentioned this in the interview, but they're my favorite band um, because of how they try to continually push their style. Like
Hmm.
they started as this hardcore band, like metalcore hardcore band. Then they become like a sort of more metalcore band. Then they go into like the more hard rock, like rock opera. And now they're pretty much a prog band. Like their whole new album, which I think is one of the best albums to come out in a while from like the metal sphere, is something that's like totally out there. Like the last 4 songs are so unlike what a metal band would put out. There's like a Daft Punk style song.
Mm.
There's a song that sounds like Sinatra. There's a
Okay.
song,
I'm gonna
yeah,
get that album then. I gotta go get that.
yeah, it's awesome. There's a song on there. that is it sounds like YYZ from Rush.
Mm,
Then there's another song on there that is just the guitar player playing this like uh almost like uh gosh, who's the composer that I'm thinking of? But it's like this beautiful piano piece um that is like he's a piano player as well, and
mm-hmm.
it's just you haven't heard him play since this first album like piano that prevalently, and it's insane like that these guys that are in their 40s, they're still pushing themselves creatively, and like for me it's like they started out strong but they haven't stopped trying, and I think like that's something that I take into my work is like looking at this thing that like hey they might not be proud of what that was but it got them to the next part which got them to the next part which got them to the next part, and a lot of people I think are coming to realize like oh that album is like super important in Orange County like hardcore, at least like I think it is, and I think it'd be cool to like have a career trajectory like that where you're able to do the things that you want to do creatively and people get on board with it.
And we'll follow the changes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like immediately like I said, those first kind of three changes in the song, I'm like, okay, I hear punk, hardcore, and like yeah, like the Judas Priest riffy melodic metal in there. Um do you find, I know you said their newest album you think is a really great album. Do you find oftentimes though that you like those rougher first album or two from a lot of bands?
It depends. I think it has to have like a certain sweet spot to it for me. So like um for a long time I didn't really like care for this album, but I
Okay.
think it was because I was so interested in their third album, City of Evil, because like that was like I still listen to it now and I listen to it into the ground basically in like junior high and high school. Um, and I think if there's like a level of quality to a band that doesn't have a lot to bring to the table, like if it's like a high production quality, but the music to me just it's like you
Yeah.
can tell it's like inauthentic or a little bit like phoned in. I would rather take the crappy recording with something that has like an emotionality, a rawness to it, um, because like I know that that is like that's what they want to do. They don't care how it sounds. It's like like send it to print. Like we got to get it
Yeah.
out there, and it like takes a level of gutsiness. But I think like for me personally, like even like a band like Cro-Mags, I can't stand the music. Like I'm like I'm not really into Cro-Mags because like the music's cool. I can
Yeah.
respect it. I can listen to it. Like Age of Quarrel is cool, but I don't find myself being like, man, I'm in the mood to listen to like Age of Quarrel because the recording quality is just like, and like the music is just not my thing. But
Yeah.
like this sounds like crap, but it's awesome. Like, I would listen to this every day if I
Yeah.
could.
Well, and it's not just necessarily that bands' first albums have poor recording quality and stuff. I think that like throw everything in the blender is prevalent a lot in earlier albums for a lot of artists where they're finding their footing, and then later albums they've like honed in on their sound. And I like the one thing I always hate is when I have a band I really like, especially a band that has like a little bit more diversity in sound like that, where they're switching around a lot, and then they start saying, "Well, we're really focused, we really got into songwriting." And I'm like, "Oh no, that just means you're gonna like follow formulas and
Whatever.
structures and it's all going to sound the same
Yeah.
now." And I like bands before they get to that point that don't quite know the rules yet, and so they're just doing what feels right.
Yeah.
That had that feeling to me of like probably like on the third album when you have a high level producer, they're going to come in and be like, that transition from the punk to the it's a little rough, and like, but I love that shit, so that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's my song.
Well, I really enjoy that song, and I really also respond to the ethic behind it that you were talking about, their band that you're talking about of relentless pursuit of something new and also being stylistically varied. You know, that's, I would say, the one musician that's influenced me the most is Mike Patton. And
Yeah.
anyone who knows his career knows it's the most varied career of all time. And I also like, that's kind of one of my core driving things as an artist also, is that I want people to sign up for, I have no idea what he's going to do next. It's going to be totally different than what he did before, probably, but I know it will be done well and it will be interesting. And it
Yeah.
seems like that's kind of where Avenged Sevenfold has gone as well.
Well, coincidentally, they are like huge Mr. Bungle fans. So
Oh, wow.
like works out, you know, like you get a little bit of Faith No More and Mr. Bungle in there, you're good.
Yeah, yeah. If you've got those, then you're going to be pushing it. So thank you, Hunter, so much for bringing this to the show, and hopefully we'll be able to come back with some more. We need a name for this. I'll put them out on Sunday. This is the Sunday song. We'll take it to church. We'll do the Sunday song. So thanks for joining us for our first Sunday song, everybody.
Yeah. And thank you, Carson. This is not my idea. This is yours. So you take all the credit.
Yeah, sure. Thank I will. All right, later, everybody. The Exile by Eric Creek is a gorgeously illustrated Viking saga of revenge. Eric Creek calls it his Viking Western. It's about a guy who's been away on the warpath and is returning home to some family troubles that have to be resolved. And this is told in just this amazing, like, kind of three-color art style that looks like old woodblock cuts or something. It's absolutely gorgeous book that you've got to pick up.